Hi, kids. Boy, I wish we were reading this together in the classroom. I just love learning about the pioneers, but that is okay. We are going to make the best of it. Everyone needs this book. It should have been in, I believe, the second packet that you brought home from school. It's called Journey of a Pioneer, and I am simply going to read it out loud to you. And I had to wear my sunbonnet. They used to wear these to protect from the sun when they were traveling in covered wagons or working out in the yard. So, Journey of a Pioneer by Patricia J. Murphy. We will begin the story after we go over the title page. We will begin on page 4. And this is written as a diary, and the first diary entry is March 23rd, 1845. Dear Diary, my name is Olivia Clark, and I've lived in Elk Grove, Missouri my whole life, but that's about to change. Pa heard that many farming families are moving west to Oregon Territory. They're looking for free open land and a new start. Since times are tough and our little plot of land can't produce many crops, we're leaving too. Pa told us at supper, I can't sleep. March 24th, 1845. Ma said Oregon Territory is far away and it will take many months to get there. Pa warned that we'd travel long distances through wilderness. Sometimes we'll be the only white folks around. Once we arrive, we'll have a very large plot of land all to ourselves. This means a bigger house, a barn for the animals, and space to grow lots of crops. I hope I like it there, wherever there is. April 8th, 1845. We've been selling our furniture and anything else that won't fit in our wagon. Ma has filled large barrels with food and packed our cooking tools, china, and bedding in a trunk. I've packed my doll, Joanna, but we'll leave her bed behind. Pa said that he would build Joanna another bed when he makes our new furniture. He has bought oxen to pull the wagon. And then there's a fun fact at the top of this page, and it says Traveling Light, and it has a real photo, a black and white photo of the inside of a covered wagon. This is what it says. Food took up most of the room in the small space inside the wagon. Many personal items had to be left behind. April 10th, 1845. Today we said our last goodbyes. Grandma hugged me so tight I almost stopped breathing. Ma cried when friends gave her a friendship quilt. Pa had tears in his eyes too. I wondered why everyone was so sad. Ma told me later that we may not see many of these people ever again. I didn't want to believe her, but Ma never lies. And then up at the top, the fun fact is friendship in a quilt. Friendship quilts were a popular parting gift. Friends sewed their names on the quilt's colorful squares. May 4th, 1845. Today we reached our jumping off point, Independence, Missouri. We bought last-minute wagon supplies here and met up with others heading west. We've split up into groups of wagons called trains. Each train includes men with important skills such as doctors, blacksmiths, and builders. In our train, there is also a girl named Lizzie. She could be my new best friend. Okay, look at the fact at the top. It says first traffic jams. And look at that picture. All those covered wagons. With hundreds of wagons heading west at one time, slower moving wagons caused long stretches of traffic. May 13th, 1845. We've settled into a daily routine now. We wake up as the sun rises. Ma makes breakfast. Pa hitches up the oxen. We pack our things and away we go. Most of the day, we walk behind the wagon. Sometimes we pick wildflowers. We travel up to 15 miles until night falls or we fall over. Okay, the fact at the top has a picture of Independence Rock, which just happens to be named Independence. It has nothing to do with Independence, Missouri. Independence Rock. To avoid traveling in the winter, families hope to get to Independence Rock, Wyoming by the 4th of July. So if you weren't there by the 4th of July, if you didn't see that rock, you knew you were in trouble crossing over for the winter. You knew that you needed to be to a certain point before July 4th, or you would have trouble during the winter. June 11th, 1845. We make camp when we find a spot with enough grass and water for the oxen. Pa unhitches the oxen and lets them rest. I collect dead sagebrush and dried buffalo dung for the fire and help put up our tent. Ma makes dinner. The fact is forming a corral. So the word is corral. Each night, the travelers put their wagons in a circle to keep their animals in and wild animals out. Tonight, we use a tablecloth and candles since it was Pa's birthday. For a minute, it felt a little like home. June 21st, 1845. After dinner, we clear the table, wash dishes, and make beds in the tent. On special nights, Pa and the others play their fiddles and harmonicas. We sing and dance under the moon. Most nights, we just want to rest. I count backward to get to sleep. It keeps me from wondering how close the howling animals are. Men take turns sitting watch to protect the camp. July 7th, 1845. I try to be brave when we cross rivers, but it can be cold, wet, and scary. When the rivers are low, we just walk across. When the rivers are high, we wait until they are lower, and then the oxen pull the wagons across. As we cross, we watch the fast-moving river currents. Yesterday, one man drowned and 2 wagons tipped over. The families lost everything. And if you remember in Little House on the Prairie, they lost Jack for a while when they crossed the rivers. Very, very dangerous to do. July 28th, 1845. I have seen Indians from far away a few times, but today I saw my first Indian up close. He was tall, thin, and had dark hair and skin. He wore leather and feathers. He offered us buffalo meat. Ma gave him some blankets in return. Pa traded some nails and beads for some moccasins. Indians aren't as scary as I thought they would be. Okay, the fact down below says buffalo stampede. We've talked about this, haven't we? Travelers had more to fear from buffalo than from Indians. A stampede could trample them to death. So if they came upon a stampede of like 1,000 buffaloes, they're not going to stop for anything in their way. So that was very dangerous. August 3rd, 1845. Meals on the trail are different than they were back home. Most days we eat cornmeal, beans, or rice served with bacon or dried beef. On windy or rainy days, we can't start fires, so everyone has cold meals. If Pa goes hunting, he might bring back an antelope or catch a rabbit or a bird for us to eat. When we find berries, Ma uses them to make fresh baked pies. Okay, so look at the picture of the things that they might eat on the trail. It had to be things that were you could store easily and could be cooked easily. Dried beef, rice, cornmeal porridge from the cornmeal up above, and then elderberries and blackberries. August 18, 1845. On the trail, we have seen births, celebrated holidays, and marked many special events. We have seen tragedy too. Some people have become very ill and died. Others have been struck by lightning, shot while hunting, drowned in river crossings, and killed by wagons and buffalo. The trail is filled with goodbyes. Today, Lizzie and her family set off on another path to a different part of Oregon Territory. I will miss her. Okay, look at the picture above. It says, seeing the elephant. Pioneers would say, I've seen the elephant when they met illness and death along the trail. I've seen the elephant. September 28, 1845. After 2,000 miles and 5 months of traveling, we've arrived in Willamette Valley, Oregon Territory. After a few days' rest, we picked the plot of land where we will live and farm. Once we've built our house, we'll have a big celebration with eating and dancing. We celebrate the end of our long journey and the beginning of our new life in Oregon Territory, our new home. Look at the top of the next page. It says Pioneer Diaries. Historians believe that 1 in every 250 pioneers kept diaries or journals along the trail, including their risky journey. And boys and girls, I want to try to do a journal through our regular journal writing and pretend like we're on the Oregon Trail. We do this every year in school, and I'm not sure how it's going to work doing it remotely, but stay tuned later this week because we are going to try to do that. The last page is Pioneer Facts, and I want to read that to you because we did start off with Lewis and Clark, and here it's talking about it. In 1805, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark were the first explorers from the United States to reach Oregon Territory. And that's when they came out the Columbia River to the Pacific Ocean. They were right there in Oregon Territory. Other explorers, fur trappers, church people, and settlers followed afterwards, finding better routes from the east to the west coast of America. About 200,000 pioneers traveled west along the Oregon Trail. At first, people used maps and guides to find their way, and later on, they just followed the well-worn ruts from the earlier pioneer wagon wheels. Pioneers were called immigrants. This was because the Oregon Territory was not yet part of the United States. An immigrant is someone who leaves one country and settles to another. So they all started out in Independence, Missouri, and there was actually 3 trails that went out west. But the Oregon Trail was the one where most of the pioneers went. And isn't it neat that Lewis and Clark were the trailblazers who actually went out there first? Oregon Territory was later divided into the states of Oregon, Washington, Idaho, small parts of Wyoming, and Montana, as well as British Columbia, Canada. And the bottom of it says, pioneers had fast food too. Many pioneers' favorite food was the Johnny cake, which was a fluffy pancake. Pioneers could fold them and put them in their pockets until they were ready to eat them. Okay, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed that book. It's kind of an intense read. Some of those words are pretty hard, but it's just so informative. And if you look back through it, think about how she kept a journal. And imagine a child on a wagon train keeping a journal of everything she saw. And then let your imaginations go because we're going to act like you're on a wagon train also. All right. Bye-bye.